I'm recording this while sitting at my altar. And I must admit, I feel a little nervous because I'm so used to scripting my transmissions. I'm so used to recording myself as those transmissions come through, transcribing those recordings, and then editing them, making them clear and coherent, and using those edited transcriptions as the basis for what I eventually record to share with you. It feels so much more vulnerable to just allow this transmission to come through and share it as I receive it, without feeling like it has to be perfect or land perfectly in order for you to receive it. I'm really facing all of the shit that has weighed me down over the course of my life, and one of those things is the lie of perfectionism when it comes to how I speak, what I share, what I create, what I offer in the world. The lie that toiling and tinkering to try to make things perfect is what's going to actually allow what I'm here to share to be best received. I'm learning that it's actually in the vulnerability and the imperfections. It's when I allow myself to be raw. It's when I trust that what is coming through is heard and received loud and clear by those who are meant to receive it. And that the more human I allow what I share to be, the more other humans will receive it. So here I am, live from this new vulnerable place with a message to share. What's coming through me is about surrender. This is a word that I know can bring up a lot for us. Years ago, well over a decade ago, I was a yoga teacher, and I remember as we were going through our training and we were teaching practice sessions with each other, those of you who have practiced yoga, you know that if you take, for example, a vinyasa class, everything leads you to that final pose, shavasana, corpse pose, where the only objective is to release, is to let go. And the word surrender would often come up in the language that teachers I learned from and teachers I was learning with used during this pose, during Shavasana. They would often use the word surrender in instructing students on how to be in that posture. And one of the things that came up during our training was how that word and a lot of the language that we use when we're teaching that pose can feel triggering for people. And it can especially, I think, feel triggering for those of us who have had the experience of having control and sovereignty and autonomy taken from our bodies in a moment of violence, in a moment of trauma. It doesn't necessarily feel great to be told to surrender and that you're safe to do so when your nervous system is still telling you that surrender equals accepting defeat, equals accepting harm, equals accepting that you have no capacity to protect yourself in this moment. So I want to name that surrender can be a really triggering word for folks. It has been for me in the past. But here's what's coming through for me around this word. We're told so often, those of us who are on this path of healing and awakening, we're told so often that we're learning how to surrender, we're learning how to let go, we're learning how to release the parts of us that are bracing, that are tensing and clenching. And I don't even mean just on an energetic or mental or emotional level. I mean physically. The parts of our physical body, the parts of our soma that are bracing, that are tensing, that are clenching, that are still anticipating harm, that believe that bracing and tensing and clenching is what will protect us from that anticipated harm. And then sometimes, in spiritual spaces, you hear people talk about surrendering as it relates to attempting to shift your reality or to quote unquote manifest. This idea that once you've made your intentions clear to the universe, it's your job to then surrender the outcome, to detach from it, to let it go. That can also feel really challenging for those of us who have been conditioned into overgiving, overdoing, overworking, perfectionism, performance, productivity as ways to earn love, to earn belonging, to earn our existence. And all of us are touched by these because we've been conditioned under these systems. And so being told that if you desire something, if you're trying to create something in your reality, if you're trying to create something in our shared reality, that you're supposed to surrender it, let it go, trust that it's done, that also doesn't feel right for a lot of us. Here's what I've now come to understand this concept of surrender to mean based on what has moved through me from spirit just now. What I heard was surrender is about releasing what is blocking you from creating as creation. That surrender doesn't actually mean that we give up. Surrender doesn't mean that we do nothing. Surrender doesn't mean that we just decide that we have no impact, no influence, no ability to shift things through our effort, through our action. What I heard from Spirit was surrender doesn't mean do nothing. Surrender means let creation create through you. And this means that the release, the thing that we have to let go of, is actually the conditioned trauma response, is actually the egoic mind looping. It's actually the places in our body where we are tensing and clenching and bracing. That's what we have to let go. And in letting all of that go, we are clearing the space for more and more of the fractal of spirit, source, God, the universe, creation that we are to actually express itself through what we do. It's not about not doing. It's about doing as the fractal of creation that we're here to be, and not as our trauma, not as our wounds, not as our survival strategies and patterns of trying to protect ourselves from a perceived threat. Not as the ego that's looping around and trying to tell us why we're either too much or not enough. We're either better or worse. So much of our doing and creating in the world is coming from all of those parts of us that are not actually us. Surrender says, let us gently move through the process of feeling and facing and meeting those places with love so that they can know that they can release themselves, that they are no longer necessary. And creating more space for our doing to be aligned, for our doing to be an expression of the fractal of creation that we are. And that's what I heard. I hope that this message meets you well, and I hope that if it resonates for you, you'll stick around and keep rocking with me. Keep listening to what I am being called to share. Keep letting me know how it's landing for you, and thank you for being with me on this journey at this moment in time that we are all journeying together. You are not alone. We are living through an extraordinary moment in the history of our species. And I know with every cell in my body that we are on the precipice of a collective awakening, unlike anything you or I ever believed would be possible in our lifetimes. And it doesn't mean it's not going to be hard, and it doesn't mean it's not going to feel scary. And it doesn't mean that we are not going to struggle. But it does mean that if you are here and you are experiencing healing and awakening within your own vessel, it's because you are a vital, necessary part of our collective healing and awakening. Every single thing that is being reborn in you is a part of our collective rebirth. Every single aspect of the conditioned self that you are allowing to release itself is a part of our collective release of those false conditions. Please keep feeling into what this moment is asking you to release and what this moment is asking you to create. This moment is asking me to create this and to release everything that has blocked me from believing that anyone would listen. Everything that's blocked me from believing that anything that I had to share was worthy of being received. We've reached a point now where things are too crucial, too important to allow those conditioned parts of us to block us from sharing what we're here to share. We need it too desperately right now. So please, share what you're here to share. This is me doing that to the best of my ability, and I thank you for being with me in it. I love you, and we will talk soon.